9:03 a.m. Item 1, approve and amend minutes of regular meeting dated May 12th, 2020.
Motion. Second.
Russell, have you voted?
Yes.
Martin, have you voted?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Item number 2, approve payment of claims submitted by county clerk's office. Motion.
Second.
Russell, have you voted?
Yes.
Martin, have you voted?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries.
Okay.
All right, item 3, approval of monthly reports submitted by officers. Looks like we have the sheriff. What we have this meeting.
Motion. Second.
Russell, have you voted?
Yes.
Martin, have you voted?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries.
You go ahead and start.
All right. Item 4, approval to hear human resources report on current status regarding family's first coronavirus.
Motion. Second.
Russell, have you voted?
Yes.
Martin, have you voted?
Yes.
Yes. All right, Ms. Vicki.
Okay, thank you and good morning. I'll go over the hours. The hours for each office are still being reviewed weekly. The county clerk is working in the office Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 3, and they're working remotely on Friday. The clerk and treasurer are rotating staff Monday through Friday. The county assessor offices will now be open Monday through Friday. Normal hours. She's rotating staff. She has resumed visual inspection with a modified plan for no contact between the employees and the public. The county election board, still appointment only to enter the office. Judicial resumed on a limited basis under administrative orders written by Judge Denny. The administrative orders, you have to wear a mask and gloves, follow the CDC guidelines to enter the courthouse. Persons who've been diagnosed with or have direct contact with a COVID-19 infected person, persons with symptoms such as fever, severe cough, or shortness of breath, persons who had traveled to any country outside the U.S. in the last 14 days, and those with whom they live have had close contact, and persons who are quarantined or isolated by any doctor or voluntarily quarantined are not allowed entry into the courthouse. Everybody else that is appointment only. There's a list that will be left of names that may enter the courthouse with the guard at the front door, and mask and gloves are required. I think there was a little faux pas on that yesterday. Hopefully David's got that addressed. The DA still essential staff in the office Monday through Friday. Others are working remotely. Law enforcement remain the same. County road crews are basically working. We had 6 furloughs across the county. 2 of those will return to work this week. The custodian, since entry has been allowed into the courthouse, has increased his routine. He's making rounds more frequently than every 2 hours. He's trying to get to the areas as soon as somebody enters. So he's worked hard on increasing his routine there. Utmost important is safety to the employees and the public. And again, as we transition to full staff in-house, the courthouse may remain on appointment-only status for a while until more about the situation is known. So Kenny, are the schedules, are those, can you approve those? Did those sound acceptable to you?
Yeah, the only difference would be from my office, so since the courts are essentially back in business, although in a limited sense, I've moved from having one ADA and 1 staff in the office every day to now I'm up to half staff. So my offices are split into teams. So I've got 4 teams to cover the 2 counties. So they'll work a week on and a week off.
Okay.
I'm kind of the exception. So if we have a live meeting here, I'll be here. I'm doing a week on and a week off in Miami at the office there to kind of fill that up. Again, the idea being that hopefully if someone on the team gets infected, it doesn't knock my entire office out. And then I could just quarantine that team and still have enough people to do everything that needs to be done. It's kind of flexible. I don't know how long we'll continue with this. It's primarily dependent on law enforcement and courts. So the more arrests they're making, the more cases that need to be processed and the more hearings that the judges schedule, which at this time they're still continuing most things out. But you know, some of the non-custodial criminal cases that, you know, would have got bumped last week may actually start going. So you'll see us doing prelims, revocations, accelerations. So we're trying to, again, we're still keeping it under 10 people in the courtroom. We haven't had too many challenges on that yet. And then also making sure the attorneys know to make sure their witnesses know to have masks and gloves for the courtroom. So the gloves are required in the courtroom. But you know, it's up to you to decide whether or not you want gloves everywhere else, because it's not a CDC guideline, but it is a CDC recommendation. The reason we have to have them for court is because the Supreme Court, when they issued that last SCAD, required the gloves. So that's probably something for you guys to think about. If you want us to always wear gloves, if you want us to only wear gloves in the courtroom, or if you want employees to only wear gloves when they're, you know, initially it started when we were trying to deal with paper documents, which I think we'll see paper documents starting to slowly creep back in. So there's a thought there as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna list you as pretty much rotating schedule. Is that fine, Kenny?
Sure.
And then you approve the other schedules.
Yes.
Okay, under the Families First Act, there has not been one person who has requested that. We had 6 that, again, chose furloughs instead of Families First. Because of the federal stipend, they're actually probably making a little bit more money than they would be working. Just a reminder that telemedicine is still available at no cost to our employees. The COVID testing is paid in network without a requirement to meet the deductible, so you can refer to Health Choice Benefits. There's an app online that should tell you exactly what you would have to pay. There is an antibody test available. The information about it is limited. not hearing a lot of suggestions to use it, and so far been unsuccessful in finding somebody to come into the courthouse and provide that. The notice about the limited reopening of the courthouse, Judge Denny asked that that be posted to the public in the last meeting. What was posted was this notice. It says effective May 18th, 2020, the Delaware County Courts will resume hearings, allowing limited access to necessary persons inside the building. There will not be greater than 10 persons in a courtroom. Mask, disposable or clean gloves, and social distancing will be required. All other offices remain open and accept visitors inside the buildings on an appointment-only basis. For those appointments, social distancing, mask, disposable or clean gloves will be required. This was at the request of Judge Denny, and he did approve this posting. This was posted at the front door. I posted it on Delco Info and the other Delco site, the Delco Show site. It was sent to all three commissioners. I know David posted it on his Facebook. I posted it on my Facebook. So it has been distributed to the public in the best way. We thought we could reach the most people more quickly. So I believe that's all I have this morning. Are you still there?
Yep, we're here.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, Vicky.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kenny.
All right, moving on to item 5, approval of complete reasons for renewal of ETR funds for Delaware County to be returned to the Second Engineering District.
Motion. Second.
All right, Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, so motion carries.
I will make you each a copy because they got to be completed.
Okay.
And your reasoning put on there before I send it back. So we'll have it on for next week if you bring your completed form.
Item 6, approval of invoice in the amount of $1,998 submitted by the Adair County Sheriff's Office for the housing of Delaware County inmates in April 2020.
Motion. Second.
Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. Item 7, approval of invoice in the amount of $1,728 submitted by the Craig County Sheriff's Office for housing Delaware County inmates in April 2020.
Motion. Second.
Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. All right, item 8 is not needed. No.
Why wouldn't I make it?
We're gonna have to do some rebidding.
Oh,
All right, if the board will, why don't we move to item Item 18. Let's see here. Item 18 would be to vote to enter into executive session identified below. Dennis Garcia State versus Delaware County, case number 18 CIV-229-GKF-FHN. Possible executive session for the purpose of confidential communications between the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Delaware and its attorneys concerning the federal lawsuit previously referenced. Public disclosure of this confidential communications would be seriously impair the ability of the board and its attorney to properly process and defend this litigation. As such, the communications in this executive sessions are confidential. Authority Title 25, Oklahoma Statute 307B4.
Motion. Second.
Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote? Yes. Motion carries, and we will go into executive session at 9:20 a.m.
So for those of you with us through Zoom or on YouTube, what we'll do during the executive session is I'll stop the video and mute the audio. So all you're going to see is my official state picture up there, and you're not going to be able to hear anything. And then when the board has completed executive session and we're ready to open it up, I will unmute and then start the video back up. That way we're not recording the executive session, but we're also not terminating the meeting from your viewership standpoint. So just stand by, and when we're done, you'll see the video come back up. right, we're back.
All right, we'll move on to item 19. Vote to adjourn executive session, return to regular meeting, and possible votes regarding the above referenced case.
Motion. Second.
Let's see here, Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. So we are back in session as of 9:36 a.m. All right, now we need a motion to, let's see, have, allow the sheriff to, let's see, how we want to.
Sign the verification.
Kind of jot this down. Barbara, I'll just kind of shorthand on the motion.
I'm getting.
Sign the verification of the board's discovery responses. And the Garcia case. Know how to do it.
All right, let's see, I need a motion to have the sheriff's office sign off on the reference to the car seat case.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. And I'll make a second. Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Did you vote yes?
Yes, I did. I may not have notated. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
See you, Mike. Take care, man.
I think I have anything else on you.
No, sir. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Moving on to item 9, approval of open sealed bids on the annual extermination service for possible acceptance.
One motion.
All right, which one do you want here? I'll go motion by Kerr. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All right, Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Let's see here.
Yeah, I got a finger. We're both on the same people.
Yeah, just speak up loud enough, we'll be there.
Grand Country Pest Control. They have, entire courthouse 220 per month. Entire courthouse annex building $50 per month. Entire community center $50 per month. Entire election board $30 per month. Entire sheriff's admin office $25 per month.
Aaron's combination. Entire courthouse per month, 100. And entire courthouse annual building per month, 30. Entire community building, 50. The entire election board, 30. Entire sheriff's administration office building per month is 30.
Who did you say that was? I'm sorry.
Aaron's extermination.
Aaron?
Aaron.
Okay.
Yes.
About $135 difference between the two. What, we're using Grand Country now, aren't we? Memory serves me right. Their service always seems to be pretty good from what I always, when we've ever had any kind of issue, it's been few, not much.
I'll just make a motion.
Like I said, anyone else want to make any comments or anything like that, or?
Yeah, I'm making one, second.
Okay, so we want to make, you want,
I'll make a motion to accept Grand Country.
let's see. Motion to accept. All right, so motion made by Martin to accept, or Russell to accept this Grand County Pest Control, and do we have a second? Second by Kurt. All right, Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries.
You have the paper clip.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Item 10, approval of open seal bids on annual cleaning and paper products with acceptance at a later date.
Second.
Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries.
Did we get any open?
Pardon?
Did we get any open?
Oh, that's good. We did. I don't know if we would want to review them now or just kind of vote on them.
What we usually do is put it on a spreadsheet.
Then break it down.
Comparison.
Well, that way you can, all the apples are all lined up and it's easier to follow.
This one's paper flip. What was yours?
Yours is the one that does it.
Oh, okay. That's you first. Yeah. Where's the motion?
Should be down there somewhere.
Yeah, it's over in the bottom like that.
The cleaning, there we go.
Number 10,
I already have it.
okay.
Okay.
All right, item 11, approval to open seal bids on annual uniform service with acceptance at a later date.
Motion.
Second.
Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote? I vote yes. Motion carried. Does it say on the outside who's from?
Likely you the first.
Yep. So, on the acceptance sheet. This goes with number 9. These people, they need tips for Tommy gun.
I got all that you can work with.
Don't bid.
Dark gray on black, but maybe white. I mean,
You can look at it.
Yeah, I got it.
Every time it's on, they got something to do.
Carry it on in case.
Okay.
All right, item 12, Approval of interfund transfer in the amount of 8 cents from treasurer's personal service account to treasurer's travel account.
Motion.
Second.
All right, Russell, have you vote?
Yes.
Martin, have you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Okay. All right, item 13, approval to receive and file liability insurance and current list of board members for Flint Ridge Fire Department as follows. Luke Story, President; Fred Johnson, Vice President, Secretary; Anita Hope, Treasurer; Mike Hope, Member; Gary Summers, Member; Dan Simons, Fire Chief; Amy Simons and Barbara Barnes, requisitioning; Dan Simons and Luke Story, receiving; Amy Simons and Michael May, inventory.
Motion.
Second.
Let's see here, motion made by Kurt, seconded by Martin. All right, Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. What did I skip a page?
Now that's bottom.
Oh.
Second page.
Joe.
Or third page.
Yes. Then you guys are all on the ball.
We got to sign it in a while.
I know, we're out of practice.
Our hands are itching to sign.
All right, item 14, approval of agreement by and between the city of Grove and Delaware County concerning emergency management building lease.
Motion.
Second.
Let's see, has everyone had a chance to review the draft?
I did.
And you,
Not the whole thing.
not the whole thing? Okay. Basically, kind of in a nutshell, we would rent office space at the EOC building that we are at now, and would share that, be able to conduct training with countywide exercises with other entities, be able to have meetings like for, say, you know, natural disaster, flood, you know, anything like that, we can have FEMA, more or less be operating out of the same building that we've been operating out of for the last 10 plus years, but now since they have their own EM director, and we just be kind of co-oping on the office space there anyways. They're going to use all the shop days, but that's fine. We can kind of spread our assets around that way. It's kind of, I kind of like that idea a little bit better. Anyway, though, if something was to happen, everything wouldn't be all in one place and be lost anyhow. Say so, a tornado or something like that would happen to come through Grove. So, but I think really though, we can't, being this is the draft, this isn't anything we accept today though, correct? I wouldn't think, could we, Counselor, on that aspect, 'cause that's
I mean, is there anything the city wants to change?
I hadn't really discussed anything with, city manager Kiefer, since I wanted to kind of
Yeah.
go through here first, is to kind of get everybody's take.
Does that actually say draft on it?
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, so we need a clean. I mean, I think you guys can vote on it in that form, but we would need a clean copy that doesn't say draft for you
Right.
guys to sign off
Yeah.
on.
That's kind of.
Do we wanna wait when they send us a final before we vote on it? Since this is just a draft?
Unless, yeah, I mean, we can, and unless they change anything on it.
I mean, I'm fine with the plan, I just don't wanna vote on this plan and have them change a few words and something else later
Sure.
on or after the fact. If you wanna get with Bill and just let him know that we're good with it, we just need a final draft.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can do it next week.
I was gonna say we can take care of it next Tuesday, so.
So, what, I guess, since we're not really voting on to accept this,
Did someone make a motion or did we get that far?
we did, I didn't, at least that way we could discuss about it, I didn't want.
I'll make a motion to just table it to next week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably your easiest.
No, no. Okay, motion to table to next. Okay, so a motion to table, set item until next week's BOCC meeting on 26th of May. Roughly making that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, second by Kurt. Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I'll get with the city manager, Kiefer, we'll see if we can get it finalized. Correct. Alright. Item 15, approval of application for temporary appropriations for the fiscal year 2020-2021.
Second.
This is kind of a pretty.
It's
Yeah,
a more ordinary thing that we get each year from our budget maker, Bill Turner.
right, that's what I was getting ready to say, this is kind of a preliminary of the budget process, so, yep. Okay, Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. All right, item 16, approval to discuss possible action, county indigent burial services.
Motion.
Thank you.
I can tell you.
I was gonna say, what do we have?
Right now, we use Shonda Lawson Funeral Home to do our indigent burials. She's always charged $200 for it.
Now, burial meaning,
The indigent burials because we're responsible for the indigent that you can't find family for and all that.
right?
So we have to have Shonda go and get the body from the coroner, bring the body up, put it in a box or cremation or whatever.
Okay.
We use Shonda for this service. For years, she's always been at $200. The problem is now is that $200 does not cover the cost of what it takes to do this. She's looking at more around $1,200 because of the cost to go get the bodies, and then also the last ones we've got, the coroner has held on to them for so long that they are not in good shape when she goes to get them. It's a mess. And then the cost of the cremation, the cost of the time to go get the body to wherever she gotta go get that, usually Tulsa, the coroner's office, bring it up here, get it prepped, get a box made, or cremated, and then take it out to a graveyard. But that's where she's at right now with the cost of $1,200, which would put her in line with what other counties are paying for the same service. I mean, we've just been lucky for years because we've gone off the same $200 price with her for over 10 years now.
Okay, so what, in the whole scheme of things here, what
I mean, we do about,
what's the course of action here? What are you suggesting?
we do about 3 a year,
Mm-hmm.
if that. I mean, what was it, your partner? 2 years ago, we had 5 in 1 year. That's the most we've ever had. I don't even think I think we've had 1 or 2 this year maybe.
Right.
Shonda is about the only one we have that will go and get some of these bodies that are in the condition they're in.
Okay.
Because the other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of these bodies have sit down there for months at the coroner's office. By the time we get them, usually we're not notified till the coroner's already had it for about 2 months. So they are not in good shape, and a lot of funeral homes do not want that in their vehicle.
Okay. So,
I mean, I would recommend we just stay with Shonda.
okay.
Cause she's the only one we've found that'll go get them whenever the coroner calls us and tells us we gotta get the body out, so.
Where does that money come from?
It comes out of our general fund.
General
We
fund.
just set up a donation account for it. We usually put about $3,000 to $5,000 a year in it.
So come this next budget,
I was gonna say,
we may need to set some more money in the account.
That, well, if you said 5, that'd be around $6,000.
yeah, I would just put for next year, since we're gonna start doing it at $1,200, I just start putting $4,800 a year in there.
I think we set it up for 5,000
Mm-hmm.
when we had that rash of ones a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
If we can always transfer money and.
Mhm.
And if you find somebody that's, cheaper and acceptable to you guys, you can always switch, but.
Yeah.
Well, normally too, I think, if there's a Cherokee and you can prove it, the Cherokee Nation would do it.
The problem we run into though is that we don't have time to do that a lot of times because the state coroner is calling Barbara, bugging Barbara about, you need to get someone down here to get this body out. I don't have space to store it any longer. The only reason they keep it for a month or 2 is just to try and notify and find next of kin. And 99% of the time, they don't even have to be from the county. They can pass away in a vehicle accident here in the county, and they're our responsibility if next of kin can't be found and notified.
And the coroner's office says they've not done it, but they could fine us. If we
Yeah.
don't pick them up.
Maybe.
Probably didn't get it out of us now.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I just recommend we just stay with Shonda.
Okay.
I mean, she's the only one we've found that'll go get the bodies.
Okay. Okay. All right, do we need a motion? What?
We never had a actual contract or bid it out with Shonda. We just do it on case by case, so. I just wanted to let everybody know that she's gonna have to start charging more because $200 isn't cutting it. discuss, because I just want to let you guys know that the price will change.
All right. Do that.
Okay.
All right, item 17, discussion and possible vote to approve or deny a request from the Delaware County Treasurer, Susan Duncan, to postpone the resale schedule for June 8th, 2020, based on the public health and safety concerns due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the date to be determined in the future.
Make a motion.
Second. So, do we have Susan by chance?
Yes, we did.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
Good, how are y'all?
Not bad. You want to kind of give us a little insight here, what you got in mind?
Okay, well, I sent, I think I sent the attachment, a
Yes, ma'am.
little more detailed, stating what I'm doing, why that I've been, with Kenny, and we've gotten together with this, and this is what we've determined, that we needed to postpone the resale. I'm looking at maybe possibly in September, but I guess we're just gonna, see how it goes, how this all plays out since we've just started opening up. So that's kind of what I've got in my head, and I can always have it add what I've got this year to next year's sale, which it'll be, we have quite a few in the sale to start with. And so it'll make it a really big sale, but, and so I also, it says in here, and it just passed this morning, it said the governor signed it. So it is in effect, that emergency that allows the county treasurers to postpone the resale. So that has been signed by the governor. So it's effective immediately. So it's good. I can postpone it up to a year. So, and then I would like Kenny's advice if he would, because it says for the county commissioners to put this in the paper. And I mean, I don't have a problem with doing it. And I would just like to know for sure what I need to put in the paper, if this is good, what I have submitted to you all, or if he wants me to, and I also received something from the Treasurers Association that some of the treasurers are posting in the paper. And I've sent that to you, Kenny, but I didn't get it to the board.
Okay.
So if you can just review that and then let me know which one you think I should put in the paper, I will get with the paper and get that posted if you guys approve this.
Okay, I can double check and look over that and make sure it looks good. And then, and does it have to run for 2 weeks or 4 weeks? I can't remember.
4,
Okay.
just
So
like the resale.
the way the statute reads, it looks like the board issues the notice, but Susan's saying she'll just do it and take care of it, so you guys don't have to worry about it. This is this new law was something in response to coronavirus and COVID-19. The problem being we can't conduct, the large resales where you might have 50 or 60 people and in this environment. So what we're seeing, I think, I haven't heard of any counties actually conducting their resales. Have you, Susan?
I have, I know that some of them were planning on it.
Okay. But Ottawa County did the same thing yesterday and postponed it indefinitely at this point until we get to a stage where it's safe to conduct the resale. And there were problems with the way the Postal Service, like Susan's office sends out the notices to the original owners, registered mail, return receipt requested, and restricted delivery. The idea is that gives us proof we've done our due diligence in relation to constitutional notice. The problem being, instead of like normally, you get a sign to pick up that letter, post office is just stamping on COVID-19. So we don't really have any proof that we've complied with certain things. So anyway, it's just really, really complicated, but Susan's done a really good job responding very quickly to this. And it was really odd and confusing there for a little bit, especially until the legislature got this bill passed and the governor signed off on it. So should be good.
All right, do you want any? No.
And you guys do have to vote on that.
Correct. All right, thank you, Susan.
You,
Let's see here. Russell, how do you vote? I vote yes. Martin, how do you vote? I vote yes. So motion carried. Okay, let's see here. Item 20, approval to open the floor for new business.
Motion. Second.
Let's see here. Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Martin, how do you vote? Yes, you want any new business?
One thing I'd like to know if, how we're gonna hold our meeting from now,
Like what we're doing.
like today, or we're going back to Zoom.
Oh. I mean, I don't have a problem with it being like this. I mean, it kind of gets everything all done.
Right.
One trick. Versus, you know.
Well, I hadn't heard anything on it, I didn't know.
Let's look at it. Let's, I mean, plan for one way or the other, and then we'll make a final decision here in the next few days.
Oh, either way, so, you know, it's kind of
It doesn't make a difference to me.
whatever the rules are.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Travis, you have any?
Yeah, I'm on new business. I'd like to mention something,
Okay.
and this is something that's gonna take a little time. I don't know any, well, I don't have a positive answer. I want to let you know that I'm trying to explore the possibility of finding funding, probably federal in some state, to approach the idea of building a new emergency operations center.
Okay.
If we have property, which ideally property near the central part of the county, which I'm thinking fairgrounds, then FEMA says that there's probably money available. Pittsburgh County just built a new garden center that has both their EOC for emergency management and 9/11. And by putting a public shelter there, they got 80% back at the back end, and they wound up getting almost 100% of it, the way they did that. And it's a hardened facility, so that it will protect our,
So when you're stating 9/11, you mean 911?
Well, yeah,
911.
there was some things from Homeland Security back a few years ago, but this deal is not the exact same program, but they anticipate some money in this stimulus package for some of these things. We can apply for money now for equipment like radios and things, but facility building, the first key step is we have some property that will be suited to that. And I just kind of wanted to give you notice. I can talk to each of them individually as I find out more. But I just kind of want to get on record that I'd like to approach this idea and try in the long term to solve this problem about not just office space, but warehouse space. We've got equipment, I've been buying equipment all over the county. And no real place to put it where it's available and useful on a timely basis. And, it's a first step.
Sure.
And I just wanted to bring it up and kind of get on record with you that I'd like to pursue this and find out what I can about it.
Absolutely.
See if we can't get a little better organized and get a plan. And, that's, as far as day-to-day business, we're coming along okay. This is kind of a new business thing, and I'm late getting down this morning.
Well, that's on me.
But if that's okay with you guys, I'll try to stay in touch with each of you and talk to you, because I know we've had you know, a lot of issue about serving one part of the county to our degree than the other.
Right.
And the first step to me is the location that's more centrally located and it's ours. You know, so that we have more control over what we're doing. And I just, that's really all I have to say.
Okay. Have you been, I know like on every Friday, you've been picking up more PPE. Is there-
Yeah,
what's
I
going on?
got, they gave me a pretty good little supply last Friday, and I've got to go turn in a work. She said there may be some Friday, there may not, but I'm gonna go turn in I've got to email her order in a little bit. And, and I'm working on the theory that we pick up everything we can get from them. I just took some masks and gloves to several offices here at the courthouse. And
Good.
I've got some stuff put back for the election board, for the elections. I've got 24 1-gallon pump sprayers that's supposed to be in either tomorrow or next Wednesday for Crystal to take around with the ballot boxes for the aquifers for disinfecting. And she's going to deliver a disinfectant deal with each ballot box. And we're just kind of taking it step at a time on this. And well, I didn't have trying to keep in touch with you, shoot the curve on what's going on, but it's there's just a lot of things scattered out, and I'm still finding stuff every day that I mean, a lot of it is not cool.
Right, right.
It's,
Gotcha.
it's,
Gotcha. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Travis. Okay. All right. Let's see. Item 21, approval to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ron, how do you vote? Yes. I vote yes. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 10:18.
We have any other important, well, we're still